Welcome back to Roadside Nuggets, everybody. Love you all. I have missed you the last 2 days. I definitely had to take a moment to step away and process some things. So, definitely everybody is not exempt from these energies. These energies are definitely pulling up a lot of shit out of everybody. So, definitely it's better definitely to be more real with yourself and stay the course than trying to bypass things and trying just to speed things up, because all it does is just build up more work for yourself. But it was interesting because yesterday I wrote down a topic the angels kind of threw at me somewhere in the night, and it's kind of like the day took on the theme of it. And what they had shared was like, spiritual isn't practical. Of course, we all, a lot of us know this, but it's a very multidimensional perspective. There's a lot of layers to that where practical to us and where we are so physical and we are so material based in a lot of ways, practical is more our way of life, just in general. And so you can say to yourself that even though your thought process or the way you go about existing in life isn't exactly practical, it's an implication of life that just is in general, as is. So, in a lot of our behavioral patterns, we don't understand where we are simply not surrendering. We're simply not in an allowance type of space, because we are looking for the physical hard proof. We're looking for the materialistic evidence that, gives us the external, again, gratification, satisfaction, where we can externalize, thus also giving your power away to it too. And also when that externalized object or person or energy signature, whatever it is, when it starts to shift and change, as I've said many times before, it starts to affect your emotional internal nature, basically, in a lot of ways. We all have very many different bodies within us. We have an emotional body too. That is currently going through a lot of processing and transformation. We've got a lot of different high energies that are highly targeting that area, we just went through the 9/9 portal, the equinox. We are wholly in a very powerful new moon era space, basically. And that energy is very, very influential to the emotional inner divine feminine energy. So the emotions are definitely heavily targeted. Since you're already in the prime space for it, it's not, creation is not, losing any chances definitely to basically target with all the arrows it's got in its quiver. So everything is under fire right now. And as I learned this morning too, and definitely with more awareness, I'm very grateful for my sister Faith, because in the spin, another awareness came to where, the etheric and basically what is happening with the transformation of the planet and us merging more with the etheric, like what we think is real, what we think is true, isn't necessarily, it doesn't matter, in a lot of ways anymore. And this is where we are still looking for the practical, where we can anchor things, things we don't understand, things we don't know, things we're still trying to figure out and learn, where we are still trying to learn it in a very physical, 3D human-based way, where these things that are coming in, 5D, these energies that we have never experienced for, that we are integrating with, they are not anything like we've actually been through, experienced, have any experiences with. It's completely new. And so where we definitely have to go deeper into the letting go, even of just our natural way of just, learning, processing. Everything has to be able to be flexible, right? And this is definitely one area that I have a lot of issues with, which a lot of people on the planet do, is being more flexible. Definitely I am more of a serious type of person in my programming. So it's harder for me to be more relaxed and just, easy flowing and just letting go. I'm very, very, I can get very, very serious and get very tense, very just like anal about a lot of things. And, so definitely in my process, I have to slow my roll a lot. I have to, calm the energies. If I'm too fiery, if I'm too acidic, if I'm too bouncy, I have to find a way to offset the energy and bounce it back out to where it stays balanced. Because the balance is the way things are going to both reach you to the higher understanding too, but also teach you the lessons you need to learn. And a lot of mine are in patience. A lot of mine are in, just letting go of things and allowing it to play out. because at any moment anything can change, right? And this is one of the issues with intuition and discernment. Of course, you may have an awareness. Of course, you may have, certain information might come to you, but in another moment it could change. So if you're still a minute behind, 5 years behind on that same thing that you attached to, you haven't allowed yourself to realize where it's developed into, where it's now at. So again, it's a lot of lessons, a lot of inner, deeper things from, I guess, our childhood past, everything. There was an interesting energy that came in, I believe, yesterday, and it was an activation switch that took place. And then you look at the Schumann resonance about yesterday. It took place around 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, and it was like this information that came in because all the information we've been integrating with and downloading since just throughout the year, everything that's been coming up. Again, the equinox that came in and brought a lot of energy and downloaded a lot of stuff in us. Those have had moments to settle in place and get dispersed throughout our physical vessel, to where now when this energy came in, it was the light switch. It turned it all on. It activated it and put it into effect, to where humanity has now been cleared in our physical vessel to move into the next phase of this physical ascension process. To where that now moves us again. What I talked about a couple months ago, about this energetic canal, so to speak, where basically in our experience, everything is moving into a tighter squeeze. And so a lot of the things we have externalized, a lot of things we have pushed so far out, those are getting pressed more in as we move into a tighter, compressed space energetically for all of us on this planet. Meaning that things that we've been so used to being so far away, we've gotten so used to and comfortable not really feeling them, reflecting them, facing and being transparent with ourselves on those different aspects of ourselves. Those are now coming a lot closer into our, immediate space, and it's becoming into your awareness now. And this is, of course, going to trigger the control. It's going to trigger the stress. It's going to trigger the aloofness, the fight or flight. Not wanting to be present with yourself, because with all the truth, we've gotten so used to sticking with the delusions, the lies, the manipulations, the deception, whether it's of our own doing or we are allowing someone else to do it to us because we were unaware, we were unconscious. So these are now getting pressed into where we have to now face these things. It's going to dredge up a lot of old shit, things from years ago. And, again, the lesson, the process always continues. There's layers and layers and layers. So, of course, you can never get tired of the process, but, I've heard a lot of times where people, they're like, oh, well, I've had a lot of years to deal with that. I've healed that. I've let that go. I've put it behind me, but it's still in you. It doesn't matter if you try to play dumb. It doesn't matter if you pretend with yourself, manipulate yourself, or just numb yourself and externalize, distract yourself. It's still there. And this is where we have to get very, very transparent with ourselves, because unless we deal with it, it's still going to dictate and affect your internal emotions. It's going to dictate your thought process, how you handle situations and how you interact with other individuals. Those internal wounds and filters and blocks, those are going to diminish the ability that you have to really give in a higher way, higher vibration, higher expression. It just controls, and it wants to be skeptical, it wants to be manipulative or deceptive, and all kinds of lower frequencies. And wouldn't you be happy, rather to go through an experience in a higher way and just experience the joys in life with other individuals and what each other can give in the higher way, versus just playing this stupid dance with each other, like who's gonna fuck each other over first? It's gotten this game where everyone has just gotten really, everyone wants to be on their own island. Everyone wants to think they know what's going on, think they've got it, under control, when really nobody actually knows what's going on. They're playing dumb with themselves and each other, trying to put up this, rooster, cock fest, puffing out their chest and walking around each other like they've got it, but they don't. They're just as scared as everybody else around them, because literally this world is spinning, in the insanity levels and just the craziness coming out. Everyone's feeling it. Everyone's seeing it. It's scaring everybody. People, especially people with families, people that they think they have a lot to protect or they have a lot to lose. Watching the world spiral like this is causing a lot of concern, and for a good way, because unless people are uncomfortable, unless people get, it's not really unfortunate unless people get into like an anxious type of way. They're not really willing to like concern themselves with it. If they're comfortable, if they are distracted, aloof, or they are completely plugged into something and disassociation, then they don't care. But if something starts to happen in their immediate space and they can't control it, they can't deny it, it's right there, that starts to get under their skin. That starts to get energies to move, right? And starts to uproot things. This upheaval process is important because the ego cannot handle this, because the ego wants to be, dictative, predictive, ulterior motive based. It wants to have everything planned out so then it can cause a dysfunction, right? If things are happening out of your control, right? And especially if you're in your vessel, a lot of things are getting triggered. That's the prime state for you to see yourself and also for you to realize all the things that are inside of you, right? It's nothing good. But unfortunately, people have gotten so unplugged from themselves, entertainment, games, whatever other people do externally, active wise. It's become a way of where people have realized, a lot of shit is fucked up, but they don't want to look at it anymore. It's tiring and it's exhausting. But they're still looking for the practical way to apply how to fix their situation, right? This is where, like, literally it's like getting two worlds squeezed together in a very, very compressed state. Like, it's got to get you to the point in your life, okay? And this is the ultimate goal in a lot of ways for this in general, for everyone to understand. It's compressing you. It's pushing you and pushing you to the point where you make a choice and decision in your life that everything that you have worked on and that what you have built on and what the world has told you, it no longer applies. It doesn't work anymore. And even though for moments we still have to, flow the same kind of pace we've been going on, we can't just like uproot the whole world and take everything away overnight and then what? That's not really love and support to yourselves or humanity, right? That's really like just burning the bridge. Because we have to work with what we've got, and then we have to transform it and evolve it into a higher way, right? And that's what Mom is doing. She's got everything planned out. But if we are constantly in this fear, apprehensive, state, like in a second, we'll turn on our heels and we'll run. That fight or flight mode's got to turn off, because there are so many things we got to face head on that your eyes got to be open and you got to be looking forward. Okay, you can't be looking back. You can't be having your back facing what you got to be embracing. How does that work? Has anyone ever tried to like hug themselves with their arms like behind them? It doesn't really work. It doesn't really feel right. You can't embrace something if you're turning around with your back towards it. And so this is where you have to be real. You have to embrace this truth. You have to face yourself. And in a lot of ways too, it teaches us to really let go of a lot of things we've been taught. And this is why Mom was very adamant about letting go of everything everything you've been taught, everything you've taught yourself that you've learned in life. Because if we are moving, let me ask you this question. If we are moving to a completely different reality, but everything you've learned came from a lower reality, in what point do you think or feel that that's going to be transferable, right? That doesn't even make sense in a common sense type of way. It's not even the same nature. It's not the same anything. It's completely something separate. It's different. So if we are to really merge and transfer and jump, leaping to 5D, it does require letting go of almost everything that we have learned, been taught, taught ourselves, have been told, since growing up. It doesn't apply anymore. And if the energies on this planet are changing the physical structure of everything on this planet, is changing, the actual nature of what our reality is like, or what can actually happen, the possibilities, what we can actually manifest, and what energy we can work with now that is higher and has never been on this planet for such a long time. It makes way more things possible. How are you going to plug into that and tap into that energy if you're still operating off like an old energy signature? Something from a different, complete, a more physical, denser reality that is not unlike the one you're moving to. It doesn't match, right? Therefore, you must let go, clear, strip away, cut cords, but also understanding this, like the awareness of it. Like Some people are in this concept where they feel they can just focus on, it's just all about energy, or it's all about just, not focusing on anything at all. In a lot of ways, that's just bypassing, because we are in a conscious ascension. We are consciously evolving. Therefore, you need to be aware and you need to be awake, paying attention and focusing on the details, focusing on the information, and allowing yourself to process and transform and evolving your nature, behavior, everything, so that everything you do and are is completely different, right? Everything just has to let go. And of course, the confidence, trusting yourself, everything. This is how these things start to come in place. Like, I remember, there's a big gap in my life where, it was complete powerlessness. It was complete helplessness. Not really knowing or feeling that there was any way to really change, who I was or where I was at. And it was almost like this, it was a collective energy. It was a collective energy of complete despair. That this is what the point I've reached, and this point will continue on for the rest of my life. And this is going to be me. There was a very collective consciousness. It was a collective energy of just pure despair, that I was condemned to that. That was forever. That was going to be my experience in my life, And I feel that collective energy is for a lot of people that are definitely, who of course experience a lot of poverty and depravity, but also for people who have just given up on life. They've had so many expectations, and after so many of them been shattered, like it was a choice. It was like to turn it off, turn everything off, shut it off. Just don't care anymore. Like, this is, after so many attempts, after so many tries, but of course with so many expectations, it's all ego. Expectation, always ego. It will always lead to disappointment and loss. So of course that was my justification for, after so many moments of that over the years, just to quit, throw in the towel and just not care anymore. But that also meant that I was actually signing myself off for that for the rest of my life. That's where I've stopped at. This is the end of my evolution, and the fear of that and the despair that, like, I could not push past that. I've tried everything to push past it. I've tried everything to, make sense of this and to make a better life for myself, and it's just not working, And so that throwing in the towel, like giving up that resentment and bitterness to yourself, because you think yourself as too weak, you're not enough, you were not strong enough to make this climb in life, let alone you felt that you had a part, something was supposed to transpire where you feel you're supposed to contribute, and you kept feeling like something was getting in your way and you couldn't explain it. I've heard the term about ego, many different times growing up, but I never understood about ego itself in an energetic or spiritual type of way, and actually what the ego is, until more of like, definitely after graduation, when I started really diving deep into research and everything, getting more involved with spiritual healing and different concepts of that, and understanding things about crystals and things, and that's where I came around to that. And and then when I arrived on mission, and like that took me to a whole nother level, meeting Mom and the team, and learning everything on mission about the ego and just the capability, and just wild. I never ever knew that much, and that's and just now being able to apply that, it makes sense to a lot of my life that I could not place. Like in many moments, you felt like this internal half part, like I was split in half, and there was an internal part of myself that was fighting me, that was literally wanting to destroy and sabotage everything. Complete sabotage, self-destruction, literally eradicate and burn everything to the ground. And it was like this consuming, rageful, just destructive force within me, and I couldn't place it. I didn't understand what it was, because I knew my intentions. I knew what I wanted in life, and I wanted to be happy. I wanted to love people. I wanted to understand. I wanted to forgive people. I wanted to make a better life for myself. I knew those were my intentions. I knew those were the things that I thought, that I felt, and I dreamed, and that I actually wished for. I know myself. I knew those were the things I wanted. So then I couldn't explain why this other side of myself wanted to burn it all to the ground, wanted to eliminate every chance I had of ever obtaining it? Why would I want to fight my own self on that if that's something I want? Why would I want to, betray my own self in achieving the things that I actually dream of? That wouldn't make sense to me. I couldn't place a lot of things. And so, yeah, the ego is a bitch. The ego will destroy everything. Every single chance of you reaching a higher consciousness, a higher vibration. It is what it is created for. To completely kill God inside each and every single one of us. To destroy every, glimpse of God. The magic, the glory, the light, the beauty, all the creativity and childlike glory of God inside every single one of us. It is designed to sniff it out and destroy it, right? And that's where we got to get our passion back. It has nothing really to do with human will. Human will is almost like an old, redundant, broken record at this point. Because look at what we've done with it. Our concept and perspective of human will, what have we actually done with it? Nothing really. We've destroyed ourselves over and over again. We've made life harder for ourselves, and we've arrogantly given our power away with that same will to other people who have fucked us over and screwed this planet up. And we've been the same as accountable, just as responsible as every single one of us on this planet, because we have allowed it, we participated, we supported it. We didn't stop it, right? So, the facts are quite clear. The truth is quite crystal clear. There's no way around it or really a way to escape any of it. You're really only just to face it head on and embrace it. And that's where, the concept that spiritual is impractical definitely really applies. Because a lot of things aren't going to really make sense to you, especially in the beginning. There's a lot of swallowing big horse pills that don't feel nice. A lot of hot chairs you're going to be sitting in that burn your ass, right? And you don't even know why you're in there. But the experience and what you're having, it's bringing things up, right? A lot of the awareness, a lot of the truth will come to you after you've already jumped. After you've already done the trust fall. After you've already jumped off the cliff and realized that it wasn't even a cliff, it just continued on. But it was your fear, what you've told yourself your whole life, your doubts and lack of faith and anything you cannot see and touch. That is where you have cut yourself off from the rest of creation and what life is. And so to you, you can't see past it. It really looks like a cliff. But I'm telling you right now, it's not a cliff. Right? It continues on. But then you have to trust yourself that even though you can't see in front of you and it looks like it drops off, you got to have faith that this climb doesn't just end here. There's no point. There's no purpose in life and creation itself for you to make a pointless climb in life. Everything leads to something. Everything amounts to something bigger and higher than ourselves. So for you to make a climb, it surely is going to take you somewhere higher than where you've ever been. There is no end to that climb unless you choose to stop climbing. But it doesn't mean that the climb itself ends. We have to push ourselves. We have to be confident. We have to trust ourselves enough to have faith that God has invested in all of us for everything that creation is going to experience once we make this jump and evolve. There is so much invested into humanity. There are so many dreams invested in us and in the timeline for us that we are going to reach and we are going to experience together more and more. And it's going to be more powerful the higher we go. But it's going to be together and we're all going to make it. And not a single one of us are going to be short-handed or cut off from God or from her love. It is completely unconditional. It's unlimited for every single one of us, for all of us, for eternity. It never stops. So the climb will never stop. The climb always will continue. Therefore, it's really yourself. It is you and your ego, the internal battle of the two wolves inside. Which one are you going to feed? Which one are you going to allow to win? And that you're going to empower and fuel within yourself, because you got to make the climb. Or you're just going to be there where you are forever. And you're not going to ever know, you're not going to ever understand or realize why. What if? You're always going to be stuck in those thoughts forever. And they don't really feel nice at all. And honestly, you are worthy to realize these things. Just like the Matrix clip I played the other day. where the oracle told Neo, she's like, you're not here to really make the choice. You're here to realize why you made the choice. And that was a big thing for me too, because a lot of these things we already chose in heaven. The soul contracts and being born down here, these things were already decided. They were already put into the divine plan. They were already put in place with God and the angels in creation. So therefore, we are here to just understand why we made the choices of what we signed up for in heaven, what we agreed to, what we saw on the higher plane before we physically arrived here on this planet, of what needed to happen, how it needed to go about, and what needed to take place to make sure that everyone made it home together as one. And the choices we made based off that to make sure that that plan was going to absolutely 100% be a complete success. We're here to understand why we made the choices we have already made a long time ago. We're playing it out. It's already a play out, and this is where we have to keep surrendering, keep trusting, keep letting go, and allowing ourselves to submerge ourselves and the awareness of, why did I choose this? Why am I acting this way? Why am I speaking this way? Why am I not loving myself? Why are you not showing yourself love? This is where we need to get to, is the why. And asking ourselves, why did I choose this? And it brings up so much more awareness and information, and it totally skips the whole trigger part. Getting stuck on the details and the drama and all that, come on, let's move past this. This is almost elementary for a lot of us. And we're so much worthy for more of this. We owe us to get to the point, right? We're worthy of that. This is where we have to, and definitely in this goes into a lot of other concepts, spiritual not being practical, with, just how the etheric is designed, and there's so many beings that exist on the higher etheric plane that do exist. I was saying to someone, I feel it was yesterday, I was like, you'd be surprised that a lot of the stories, a lot of the fairy tales, a lot of the myths and things that we heard growing up, that people have said for thousands of years, over centuries, that they're all real. And they were like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, like fairies, for an example, they're real. And she was like, yeah, I've been to some fairy circles and been to a couple of countries, and they're really, they're really serious about fairies. I'm like, well, yeah, I hope so. They're to be respected. And then I was like, well, if you ask yourself, if you go back through human quote unquote history, and you look at all the different sightings, the different information that they have about, different experiences people have, per se dragons, and just all this content and information people have on dragons, and how massively huge and big they were, how small they could be, what their abilities were, and what they represented for a lot of people across different continents and cultures, and all throughout different eras, just different, it was just amazing, very magical creatures. And I was like, well, what if those are real? Because let's look at this, the concept of a lie. In order for there to be a lie, first there has to be a truth, right? Because you can never have just a lie. The lie can't exist by itself. It's fake. It's an illusion. The lie exists to manipulate, contort, or twist something. That's what a lie is. So therefore, if there's no truth, there's nothing for the lie to attach to. So there's no way to fabricate a lie. The lie goes off the truth, right? That's a simple concept to accept. So when you have a lot of things that are said, a lot of information, a lot of just stories, and just stretched out, especially in-depth evidence, even if there's a lot of exaggeration, fantasy, delusion, and lies, so to speak, there's no way for that to exist unless there's a truth backing it. And so that's always been a perspective that's helped me for well over 10 years. And my spiritual learning process and understanding things in a higher conscious way, and be able to see between the lines, look past just what the surface is, and realize that even if it's bullshit, even if it's just crap, there's still something backing it, because that's the whole reason why we're all here. None of this exists without the truth, us, God, what's real, right? That's the only reason why the illusion 3D matrix exists. 3D matrix exists because we're here. We're the truth. The 3D matrix is the illusion, it's the lie. But we are generating, the lie, of course, but we are the hidden truth. What we are capable, what's inside of us, we are the hidden truth underneath the lie. What they say humanity is, right? And so even with dragons, you can even say that in confidence, like dragons are real, unicorns are real, dwarves are real, they're all real. Because there's no way for the lie and all that to exist unless it's like, what's the truth behind it, right? So in a lot of ways, you can dig deeper, you can trust and move deeper into researching and finding deeper awareness within yourself and other things, other consciousnesses, with just that simple concept to help guide so you can trust more in yourself. And it's like, it doesn't matter what it is. And this is why we have to stop with the belief systems. This is why we have to stop with the projection and the blame and wanting to short circuit or just blow the whole bridge, burn it all before we actually see what the lesson is, what the message is. Everything is relative because we're here to transform everything. So if we're sitting here denying and bypassing and throwing, like, no, this is not important, this is irrelevant, and just like, no, right? Even if it's bullshit, there's something there. There's something there for you to collect, something there for your awareness to see in that. And if you can trust yourself enough, if you can be real enough with yourself, then you can see past the bullshit in the superficial surface area, and you can see between the lines of what is hiding underneath that needs to be revealed, the truth that needs to be shown, right? And that's your purpose for being. That's your purpose for having the experience. Anyways, that's the reason why it's even in your experience, is for you to reveal the truth in it, for you to see the lesson, for you to see the truth, and see the expansion, the idea of it, for you and for everyone else. The realization must be had, but if you're not going to trust and expand, evolve, surrender, drop your resistance, embrace, even if it's unfamiliar to you, even if you don't know it, even if it's uncomfortable for you, but to accept it anyways, because it's meant change. It's meaning change for you. It's meant to allow you to grow in many different ways, even maturely, so you can handle more higher awarenesses. That with a fragile consciousness, with a fragile foundation, with a fragile stability, with a fragile ability to, hold space for higher energies, then higher consciousness would break you. That's just a simple truth, right? And this is why we have to grow and be grounded and stable and build our foundation and learn to grow and trust ourselves and other people, and to embrace and open up and be vulnerable. Because unless we are working on these different parts of ourselves, once you start tapping into higher conscious awareness, it's gonna be intense. It's gonna be hard for a lot of people on this planet. You can't bum rush this. You can't just speed on the fast lane on this and just get all the fun, sparkly jewels and the cool powers and everything like that in the game and just be a cool rock star. No, it's a discipline. It's a practice. It's a respect. It's an honor. And these are all things that need to be understood and realized with conscious awareness in each and every single person, in order for the higher consciousness to fully be able to, for you to handle that, for you not to, move into that energy and completely explode. You cannot be fragile. You cannot have fragile belief systems that the second it doesn't add up, the second it doesn't go the way you want it, you just explode. You snap. You lose it. All control, restraint, everything just goes out the window. All sense of stability and love and just forgiveness, gone, right? We can't be ticking time bombs. We can't be these these anxious children that and I lived that life for a lot of moments, and it sucked. It was not a very it was a sucky life. For a lot of years I lived that way. With this fear that the good never lasts for long. And if you're having a good moment, if you've bumped to a good spot in your life, then that essentially is not going to last long. And I lived that fear that like, okay, then the shoe's gonna drop at any moment. As soon as it got good, as soon as I was smiling and I was like on my A game, I was hyped up, I was moving and grooving, I was in my zone, right? And then it was like this fear in the back of my mind that was like, any moment now, the next shoe's gonna drop. Any moment it's gonna just cave in on me. And I had this fear and this paranoia and this panic and this like just upsetting with inside myself. That like it was just like I had moments to soak this all in. I had moments to grab it and go before it's gone. And definitely this triggered a lot of my impulsiveness a lot in life, where I was very irrational and impulsive with a lot of my choices and decisions that I made, just in a lot of my life over the years. And it's powerful awareness, to be able to be aware that is something operating within me, but also to face it then, because you got to face it. Unless it's always going to be something that's going to drive you, it's going to destroy your life. It's going to never let you be happy. You'll never be happy with that monkey in your back, that as soon as you start stepping into those higher vibrations, it's sitting there whispering in your ear, any moment now, it's coming. And you're looking over your shoulder. Now you're starting to, be premeditative. It's like, what should I do? It's like, and then you start going to more control. You start going into more fear. You start going to more projection onto the future and moments and things that haven't even happened. And you start telling yourself what's about to happen, and you're getting scared and upset or, distressed over it. And it hasn't even happened yet. And you're manifesting it. You're making that reality more of a possibility than what the higher, grander one was. Because that's all you can think about. It's all you're fixated, all you're obsessed with, right? And then you're going to do everything you possibly can to make sure you don't end up there. But lo and behold, now we are arriving there. Because you put so much energy into it. It didn't matter if you didn't want it. It didn't matter if you were planning against it. It didn't matter if you did everything in your power to make sure it didn't happen. All that energy just said to the universe, bring this on, right? And this is where we don't understand and we don't know what we are doing energetically, because we are so unconscious. We are such in a fight or flight mode with ourselves, with the truth, and we don't want to embrace or face it head on, to where we are creating dynamics we don't need to live through anymore, people. All right? Love yourself enough to allow the flow to be easier. You keep making more mountains to climb, you're going to be exhausted and tired forever. You'll never have peace. You'll never rest. Okay? God is not a freaking like road march drill sergeant. She's not driving you like a whipmaster, right? That you are love yourself, have patience, nurturing, compassion. And where we have shortcomings in this, where we fall short of this, where we just like, all right, well, I've had patience with myself, but I'm done. I don't have any more patience with myself. Well, good. If you don't have any more patience with yourself, this is the prime time to learn to have more patience with yourself, because the whole freaking lesson right now is to learn to have more patience with yourself and everyone else. You just want to create a problem or be dramatic for no freaking reason, when the actual issue is your answer. It is your blessing. It is your launching pad to a higher version of yourself. Do you imagine what could be possible if you had more patience? You could probably go further. You could probably push more. You could probably become more if you had more patience. But instead, your ego wants to trip and attach and explode and obsess over not having more patience. I don't have any more patience. Don't fuck with me. I don't have any more patience. Don't bother me. I don't have any more patience. I'm not dealing with this. I don't have any more patience. I'm quitting. I don't want to live. I don't want to do this. I don't have any more patience. Well, good. How about you learn it? That is the whole point of these, not problems, not shortcomings in life. The whole reason why we have these experiences is because it's like someone at the board, they're like, all right, next, this is up, right? Okay, this is the next thing to learn. In a class setting, You see on the board, it's like, all right, got to learn this now. That doesn't mean like you see on the board, you're like, oh my God, and you just like freaking panic and have a meltdown. You just, pull all the stops, you pull everything out, you burn the bridge underneath your feet, and you're just like, well, fuck everything. It's over now, right? That's not what the thing on the board meant. It meant for like, this is what's up. This is the next theme. This is the next, mastery for yourself. For you to learn and master and grow and mature in this, therefore giving you more tools, giving you more stability, giving you more confidence and more empowerment within yourself so that you can do and push more for yourself and for others. Which means you can do more for love, for God, and for this mission and your role being here on this planet. That's what all that means. Quit skipping out on yourself, quit shortcoming yourself, pulling the rug out from yourself, and bitching and complaining when you get to the finish line and it's not what you wanted, what you expected, what you pushed for, or what you anticipated for. Because if you're not willing to put the work in now for it, do not complain when you get to the finish line of what you have manifested in that result. Right? That is the truth. Real gets real. Fake gets fake. We are moving more and more and more into instant manifestation. And with these Aquarius energies, the thoughts are getting more intense. It's time to embrace. It's time to face these things and realize you got to face it now, right? Later it gets, the more intense it gets. And it's not to be pushy or like to scare anybody. No, I mean, everybody is contracting exactly what they are manifesting. And it's what they need, How controlling you are, how stubborn you are, how resistant you are, and surrendering you are. You very well might need an equal opposite force type experience where you're pushing so far one way, so something's got to come from the opposite way to move you back into balance because you're not willing to stop, you're not willing to push off, you're not willing to rein it in. So now you are asking universe to help enforce you back into a balanced flow to where you can see, okay, this energy, this experience is way better. I'll choose this. And then you'll offset, you'll let off pushing so hard one way because you're not looking. You're just closing your eyes and you're buckling down and you're just trying to force it. You're not going to make it anywhere with that, right? But that's the way a lot of us have just been living for a long, long, long moment in life. A lot of us have been just living that way a long, long moment in life, and we've just gotten used to that way. A lot of us are a lot older now in age, which, again, I love expressing this. Age is an illusion. The age completely is a lie, right? Everyone is children, and the moment you let go of these belief systems about age and what that means for you, what that's supposed to do to your body and all this, the more you let go of that, the more you cut the cords with that crap and only reconnect cords back to what is true, whole, pure, real, and whole, and love. Highest timeline, ascension, Mother God, and starships, twin flame energies. Thank you, angels. Bring it on. Bring it all on. So that's got to be your intention, to always move to the higher idea, the higher truth and realization for it. Or you're always just going to have what you've accepted, what you've settled for, and what you've contemplated a million different times in your mind over the years of just seeing nothing but the lower. Seeing nothing but the opposite of love and what does not work, what is not, valuing or uplifting to you or your consciousness. So that's the real. That's the, the facts for it all. I'm going to get on Facebook now to check the messages. I don't see, be a moment. Let's see if Facebooky will give me some comments today. Not many. I know there's more of you on this Facebook, but it says not. We'll play along. Alright. I see Diane Tambe. I see Igor, Jana Floyd. I see Tamara Rose. Penny Bowman and Brendan. Hi everyone, beautiful people. I think that's about it. Oh wait, no, I see Krista. Well, so I am going to address this one comment. So, so just a little background for everyone who does not aware, because I see a comment about, thank you, Father God. None of this would be possible. So, just a little background info on all this. So, one, Prime Source creator. Mark, I see your hand up. Just 1 second, brother. I'll get to you in a moment. Prime Source creator is a woman. God, the first realized the pinnacle part of the Godhead is the feminine divine essence, feminine energy. It's creative source, right? There's nobody down here you see in a male form popping out babies, giving life to babies, squeezing a baby out of our butt cheeks. No man down here on this planet is doing it, all right? Let's be honest. Let's be very real, all right? So the feminine, they're the ones that are giving childbirth. They're the ones that are the vessel where the soul and the physical body combine and merge together, and thus are birthed into the physical reality on this planet. You ever heard the term about, everything is a mirror unto life? As above, so below, as within, so without. Everything's a reflection upon itself. And yes, that is the same thing for the etheric as well, because the Creator did create everything in its image, and that it is a feminine form, And thus, from the feminine form, she created a twin flame love mirror. An object of her love, basically that could mirror all of her love back to herself. And that was in a male form, and that would be Father God. So Mother God is the first, and she gave birth and created Father God out of her heart. God's heart created Father God as a twin flame, and that's where twin flame comes from. Twin flame energies are literally, Father God is of Mother God's heart. He came from her heart. And so she is first. She is the one who physically incarnated and embodied on this physical planet, and she has done all the work on this planet and is reaching us to a higher consciousness, higher reality, higher everything. She has done all the work. None of this would be possible without Mom. Mother, this woman right here, she did everything, okay? And none of us would be here. None of us would be here at all if she was not here. This is only all possible with Mother. And so, Father God, of course, there's been many different vessels who have helped with embodying Father God energy and all that on the planet. However, Father is with Mom in the etheric right now. Father God is up there with her. And definitely he has supported Mom in a lot of moments. Robin, he has supported Mom in a lot of moments, many, many different times. So just a little background info, just so everyone knows. Just wanted to clear that part up. But yeah, I love you all. So Mark, I'm not sure if you wanted to talk still, but I'm going to unmute you. And let's see. I feel I'm going to actually take this out of this. Yeah, so I unmuted you, brother. You can speak. I'm going to get this thing out of the brace so I can put on the mic so other people can actually hear you. There we go. Mark, you are asked to come to the front, Mark. Mark, you are being paged.
I'm here. Hello.
Oh, there he is.
Now there I am. Yeah, my question is more that thanks for everything. It resonates really well. My question is more administrative. I can't join the chat anymore. I had been on the chat, and now it's telling me that the chat, I have to join it and that it's closed or I can't access it. Is there a suggestion on how I can get back to accessing the chat?
The one you're on now, the 5D full disclosure one?
Yes. I can see the post, but I can't read any comments.
That's weird. I don't know. I mean, if you're on this live recording, you should be accessible to everything. So, That might be something
So
on their end. We'll look at that definitely after the stream, but I don't have an answer for you on that.
okay, thanks. But thanks for the talk. Everything is, again, 100%. Thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome, brother. I love you. All right. So we are coming up on the hour, folks. So just a few things before we go, angels. So the Mercury retrograde energies are really intense. Again, I've shared this a couple times. This is the third and the final Mercury retrograde for the year 2021. And this is just short of before the Scorpio season starts, the whole death and rebirth process. So we are getting definitely amped and primed up for a lot of things to come, get yanked out just completely. The Mercury retrograde is definitely, again, watch the communication, people. Yes, the communication is a big one with this. And just with the things that you are expressing, the things you are saying outward, feel into it first. These are definitely where we are more amped and primed because, of course, the Libra energies and everything are more the hibernated, the inverted, more of the hermit type energies, but still too, in a way, there's a lot of emotional things getting pulled up, a lot of internal evaluating, looking at things in a different way, a couple different sides, seeing which way we're going to go with it, how are we going to make our choice, how do we see it, what's our view on it and perspective. A lot of that's been coming up over the last month too. And the Mercury retrograde scraping all that up, pulling all the crap up for all of us. We have to look at all the ways we are communicating with each other, with ourselves, with really what we are referencing in a lot of ways. What are you trusting? What are you listening to? What are you implying? What are you, intending? That's another good thing too, especially with communication, though, both externally with other people in interaction, but also with yourself and communicating with yourself. What is your intention? That is a part of communication, is to have a direction. Where are you going with your communication? Where are you going with your direction? What's your intention? What's the track that everything is set on? What's the starting point? What was the whole purpose? If you're not aware of that, then you're just pointlessly talking, just being the ego, just flapping the gums, and there's really no relativity to what you are expressing at all. And that's got to stop too. Just being a chatterbox, just endlessly, pointlessly, speaking, talking about pointless things that have nothing to do with where you are, expressing what's going on, present moment, what's needs to be focused on and dealt with. If you are distracting yourself and focusing on all the different other dumb things, especially drama and other people's drama and just crap, and you're just chattering and chattering and chattering away. You're just endlessly wasting your energy that is meant for you to transform with, it's meant for you to express with and create with and be yourself with, yet you would waste in other people's dysfunction. That's how much you hate yourself. That's how much you deny yourself your own love and your own power, but you'll give it to other crap and dysfunction and give that the whole day. On air. Volume up. Right? Look at your intentions. Look at the value you place in yourself and what you are valuing outside of yourself. Just because it's some commotion, just because it's distracting or it's letting you distract yourself from your issues, does not mean that it's doing anything for you. It's just stalling time, if anything, but it's also building other work up for you on the back end. And then you're going to complain when you get to that. You're like, oh man. It's like, yeah, you thought this was going to just go away, but nope, it's still here, right? Let's get to work. Let's roll up sleeves. Let's face it. Let's just get through it and love ourselves the whole way through. And then we don't have to come back to it anymore. Don't you get it? It's like once you do it, it's gone. Once you transform and heal it, it can leave. It can go. And then you can focus on higher, grander, greater things. Not just stuck on the same old bullshit while you're fantasizing about higher, grander things. No, let's make it real. Let's get there, right? I don't want delusions of grandeur. I want to live and breathe it. I want to touch and feel it. I want to experience it. So delusions they're not going to do it for me. Fantasies don't do it for me. Let's make it real. Let's make it happen. Let's apply it. Let's intend it. Let's make it the purpose and move forward. And as our goal, right? We can succeed in that if we all choose that, and especially as a collective, especially as one. If we choose to move forward for that, for ourselves, for each other, for our families, and for our children, for a betterment of life for all of humanity. Love yourself, humanity. We've got this. We have the skills and the abilities, and God is fully backing us on this. If we want to push for the heavens, she will do everything within her power to lift us that way. All right? I love you all. Take care of yourselves. Drink lots of water, ground. If you've been crying a lot, if you've been sweating out a lot, make sure you are replenishing the salts and stuff. Maybe like put a little bit of pink Himalayan salt in some water and drink that. Some people don't like it because it tastes a little salty, but I'm telling you, it will help you replenish a lot of your body's minerals and properties, things that have been like in deficiency, especially if you're sweating out the salts, or if you're getting rid of a lot of fluids. You must be drinking a lot of fluids back into your body too, especially for a lot of people who are experiencing flu-like symptoms or sickness or anything like that. If you put pink Himalayan salt in water and you drink that, what happens with that is like the pink Himalayan salt, it basically swells the cells up. Because the reason why people are like getting sicker and their bodies are having trouble with it is because the bacteria and the viruses and things inside, they create sharp barbs, and they're like these little rings that wrap around the cells, right? So when the blood cells try to get to the cell and actually help it heal and dissolve the bacteria or the virus, it actually pops. It actually gets destroyed on these barbs from the bacteria, and actually the cell doesn't ultimately get the white blood cell to actually where it heals and transforms. So, with pink Himalayan salt, when you drink that, and especially in regular routine throughout the days and stuff, you'll start to notice your body gets a lot better. It starts bouncing back faster because it swells the cells up in a big way to where there's more water in the cell, to where those barbed wires are stretched out even more, to where the white blood cells can easily get through that cell and boom, handle its business, kill to destroy the virus and all that. So that's just, one purpose of it. But it helps definitely with the circadian rhythm, helps reset the sleeping cycle in a lot of different ways, helps the body, bounce back in a lot of ways where it's just been deficient, it's been exhausted. If people have weird sleeping hours or just they're very, extreme on their physical body, that will really help a lot. So, stay hydrated, stay grounded, love yourself, get some sun on your skin. The more skin in the sun, the better, and be on the ground. Allow whatever comes up just to let it go, and just be in a centered, calm space and allow it just to do its thing. Go with the flow. Don't resist it. Everything is as it should be. You are in the right space and spot at the time that where you need to be according to divine plan. So don't worry. Don't fear. Don't stress about it. Let it all go, and just trust Mom that she's got everything where it needs to be. And if you just do that, you will always end up where you need to be, and that's all that needs to happen. Okay. I love you all. Take care of yourselves. We will be back with you all tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Mountain Time and 8 a.m. Eastern Time with Buddha and Jerry. And until then, I will see you all tomorrow evening. I love you. Good night, and take care of yourselves. Buddha said he loves you.
Yeah.